Hello, it is Sunday, February 18th, 2024, and it is 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Take a sip here. And welcome. Thank you for joining us. We are DPF Guys based in Atlanta, Georgia. We focus 100% on diesel aftertreatment services for anything with the diesel engine and emission system. Most of our customers are truck drivers and fleets, but we also service aftertreatment for off-road equipment, diesel passenger vehicles, stationary equipment with DPF systems like generators, pumps, rock crushers, and more. If it has a DPF, we can clean it. Disclaimer, you should always talk to your mechanic about any concerns you have about your engine or truck, and any pricing discussed here may or may not apply to you and should only be used as a guideline and is not any form of an official quote for any services by DPF Guys or anybody else for that matter. And make sure you watch until the end where I pick one name out of the hat to see who wins a hat this week. Don't let me forget to do that. And let's get started here. Got 10 questions this week, and they're all pretty darn good. So number one, how much will it cost to do maintenance on the system of a Freightliner 2019? Ain't nothing wrong with it. So I like what this guy is thinking. He's going, what do I need to do preventatively so I'm not derated on the side of the road and waiting for a tow truck or a mobile mechanic to come. Your after treatment will actually treat you very well if you take care of it and just keep an eye on things and fix the problems before they become big problems. So final cost on a Freightliner will depend a lot on whether you've got a Detroit engine or a Cummins engine in that truck. So if you have a Cummins engine, you have only one DPF and one DOC. But if you have a Detroit engine, which most of the Freightliner Cascadias do, you have two of each, twice as many clamps and gaskets. The cost of the entire service, plus all necessary parts, once the mechanic has pulled the one box out of your truck, is right around $1,650. Might be like $1,635. I always kind of forget. And the price of around $1,650 is for cleaning your entire one box. Now, you can just do the filters by themselves, which does cost a bit less because you're only cleaning the DPF filters, but it's actually more work and labor for the mechanic to take just the filters out versus the entire one box. I know this sounds counterintuitive, but it's true. If you've ever taken filters out of a one box, you know it can be a job. You got to take the heat shields off, and you have a very small space to get in. You got to weasel your way into the truck and pull those things out, and they're rusty and a mess. And if you take the one box off, you just unplug all the connections from the harness, leave the sensors in, disconnect the DEF doser from the doser port, and take out 8 bolts and just drop the whole thing down. Anyway, so if you just do the filters, the mechanic may charge you a bit more because the labor's more for just putting the filters out. But the cost to clean your filters about just the filters by themselves is about $500 less than doing the entire one box, but you don't get the benefit associated with cleaning everything, which is going to be the DOC, the SCR, the DEF mixing chamber, and along with the DPFs, etc. So we're happy to do either for you if you say just clean my filters, but we'd encourage you to do the entire thing. It's a better job. Yes, it does cost a little bit more. It's actually easier for us just to do the filters, but it's something you need to get done every 400,000 miles. I would recommend spending the extra $500 to get the whole thing done. So if you have a Cummins engine in that Freightliner, usually an ISX 15, you only have one DPF, one DOC, and one SCR. And the clamps are a bit less expensive than the Detroit ones. And you need fewer of the clamps. So the cost is usually less than half of that of cleaning one box on a Cascadia with the Detroit engine. So if you want to schedule your appointment and to get your Detroit one box or your Cummins filters cleaned, regardless of what truck you have, send a text to 404-999-1361, and we'll get you taken care of and in and out in about 24 hours or even a bit less. But basically, it's an overnight process. All right. I hope that helps. Let's go on to question number 2. Can you guys clean a DPF filter on a 2015 Duramax? And the answer is absolutely, 100%. The Duramax is actually a really decent medium-duty truck, and the DPF system usually cleans up really nice. The only bad part about the emission systems on the Duramax is it's about 13 feet long. 12, 13 feet long. It is a beast. The actual DPF and DOC part of it is maybe only about 3 feet long. If you want to bring the whole thing in, that's a lot to transport. But what we recommend doing is going about 6 inches away from the DPF and DOC assembly on both ends and cut the 4-inch exhaust pipe on both ends, leaving about 6-inch stubs left so you can re-sleeve it and weld it or clamp it. Once we have it, we do our thing, get it back to you within 24 hours. And so if you have a medium-duty mechanic you bring your truck to, have them pull it off and ship it to us, or we'll come get it. But if you don't have a mechanic that you work with, we can recommend somebody to you who does the medium duties really, really well. So if you want to schedule an appointment to get your Duramax emission systems cleaned, send a text to 404-999-1361. And again, just like the Freightliner, I'll get you taken care of in and out in about 24 hours. And of course, like anything, if we find out that it's not fixable, not cleanable, because it's all cracked, crumbling apart, melted, anything like that, there's no charge. So what do you have to lose? Right? Okay. Question number 3. What's the cost on cleaning the entire DEF system? So this kind of goes back to our first question. It depends on a couple of factors, but we try to keep it simple. And as you heard in our first question of the night, the Freightliner with the Detroit engine in one box is around $1,650 for cleaning and parts for the entire one box. A truck with a Cummins or PACCAR engine probably around $700 for cleaning and parts. Same would be for a Isuzu truck or something similar, $600, $700. Now, if you have a medium duty like a Ram 2500, Ram 3500, Ford F250, F350, or similar, that's usually about $750 all in. Sprinter vans, Range Rovers, diesel sedans are also around $750. Volvo or Mack pricing depends on the year of the truck, but all around the same price as a Detroit or Cummins. And the pricing I'm talking about here is the DPF and DOC. But if you need your SCR cleaned as well, you need to spend about another $225, $325 or so, depending upon the equipment. So in a nutshell, most of the time, it costs $125 to clean your DOC, $295 to clean your DPF, $225 to $325 to clean an SCR, plus the necessary parts, clamps, gaskets, etc., which vary in price, and we don't know how many you need until we know exactly what you got. Some trucks don't use any clamps and just need gaskets. Some need everything, but don't worry, we can give you an estimate before we start. Oh yeah, we can also clean your EGR cooler, which we charge $220 for at this time. And we also pressure test them as well to make sure that they're good. So if you want to set up an appointment, text us at 404-999-1361, and we'll get started and get you taken care of. This is going fast. I like it. Okay, question number 4. I was told by the dealership the one box can't be cleaned on Volvos, this would also be Macs, and only the DPF filter. Can you clean the entire system on a Volvo or a Mac, or do you have to replace it? So there's probably a reason, for why the dealership told you this, and it's likely not about the Volvo or Mac one box itself, but the equipment the dealership has to do the cleaning and the processes they're trained to do. The equipment at most Volvo Mac dealerships is designed to only clean the filters and maybe the DOC and not the SCR or selective catalytic reducer. That's the same thing as the SCR, so it works with your DEF. Our equipment, however, can handle the big parts from the trucks like that, so it's not a problem at all. We can even do oil-soaked Volvo and Mac 1 boxes if you're unfortunate enough to have that truck and have a turbo go out and load everything up with motor oil, but we can fix that as well. If worse comes to worse, we do have refurbished Volvo and Mac parts ready to go with a 1-year warranty, and we can ship them anywhere in the U.S. So if you want to learn more about getting your Volvo or Mac after treatment taken care of, or if you want to schedule your service, be sure to text us or call us 404-999-1361. Okay. I've got kind of the max headroom head going on here. I wonder what that's all about. Anyway, question number 5. I'm buying a 2016 DD13, and he was the guy with the DPF fire, almost burned his truck up. And and completely cleaning and new sensors on it for obvious reasons. How much for the labor? Now, I don't want to be that guy who talks crap about something just because I think it makes me sound like a tough guy somehow. And you know who I'm talking about, or the kind of guy I'm talking about. But the 2015 vintage Freightliner Cascadia with Detroit engines often have serious one-box problems where the only solution is to replace the whole one box. And I'm watching my video here, and it looks real jittery. Bummer. The only solution is on the 2015 vintage. And again, this guy said 2016, but our experience, my experience, has been that the late 2014, all 2015, and early 2016 trucks had an issue with fuel mapping that overtemped the one box and damaged the SCR. While the DOC and DPF in a Detroit one box can tolerate higher than normal temperatures, most of the time with no issue at all, the SCR will fail if it ever gets above 1200 degrees Fahrenheit or above. So the fuel mapping issue caused excessive heat in the one box and caused high percentage of one boxes to fail, a really high percentage. Freightliner did have a bulletin about this, and they did correct the fuel mapping issue. But if they didn't catch it soon enough, the SCR would still fall into still fail in the future, usually long after the warranty expired. So there is nothing at all wrong with the 2016 2000 DD13. Other than a fuel mapping issue, which is entirely software-based and easily fixable with an update, but the software problem did cause a hardware failure that affects many, if not all, 2014, 15, and 16 Freightliners on the road. So if you're buying a 2016, either make sure you know that they have completely updated all the control modules, ACM, ECM, etc., and that the one box has been replaced. If you're not sure whether you have a new one box in the truck, make an offer lower than they're asking, or at least get a warranty on that baby. I don't want to have to sell anybody parts they don't need ever, but if you do need a new one box, just let me know. We do have them. If anybody out there wants to learn more about our brand new one boxes for their Freightliner, those one boxes do come with a 3-year warranty, unlimited mileage, and with great service. Shoot us a text with the last 6 of your VIN to 404-999-1361. Question number 6. If you have a medium-duty truck and you never drive it hot or loaded, can you put the DPF in front of the DOC? Now, you can't put the DPF in front of the DOC because it would never regenerate. The DOC is what generates the temperatures you need to actually get the regeneration to happen. But this is a good question. Strangely enough, there are several Ford models that actually do exactly that. They put the DPF at the wrong end of everything, after the SCR, and the DOC right before the SCR. So Ford decided to do this after market research that revealed that many people with a big toy hauler, an $80,000 truck, whatever it might be, big diesel truck, would work the truck hard on the weekend, hauling horses or boats or what other fun things they do, which would generate the necessary heat needed to properly activate the emission system. But on weekdays, and they found this by research, the average truck owner only drove the truck 15 minutes at a time, very short trips, which never created the necessary temperatures for the emission systems to actually work properly. So they took the DPF out, moved it way to the end after the SCR, and put the DPF at the DOC right up to the front of the SCR, took the DPF out, moved it to the very end of everything. And this works, actually. It produces the heat needed for the SCR to function, and during a regen, it'll heat up the DPF as well. And it all works, but this configuration means that your SCR will have soot inside it because the DPF's not protecting it, just like, it will have soot inside it just like the DPF. So when we clean this type of system, this type of configuration where the DPF is at the end after the SCR, we always do the SCR cleaning along with the DPF and DOC. So if you have a medium-duty truck that needs a DPF cleaning, regardless of where the DPF is located in the chain, shoot us a text, 404-999-1361. All right. Question number 7. All right. So I had posted a video talking about the Gen 5 Cascadia. And the question is that the P4 Cascadia or something newer? So according to Detroit, right from their website, the Gen 5 DD15 is the latest engine. And Peak horsepower on the Gen 5 is achieved at 1,500 RPMs compared to the prior generation's 1,625. Peak torque is realized at 900 RPMs versus the previous rating of 1,075 RPMs. And a new piston bowl shape was designed to promote a swirling effect in the combustion chamber. All of that sounds very interesting. Obviously, if your engine can produce a lot of torque and a lot of horsepower at lower engine speeds, you will consume less fuel. So that's always good. But none of this really matters to us at DPF Guys. But one thing different about the Gen 5 that we've noticed is that they have simplified the one box substantially, have reduced the number of parts necessary, and have also cut out the number of DPFs, DOCs, and SCRs from 2 down to 1, which should reduce the expense of manufacturing and also service. So the simplified design should make maintenance and cleaning less costly, but the jury is still out. The problem we have seen is a very high failure rate for the Gen 5 Freightliner aftertreatment / one box. I currently do not have a good answer about what might be causing it. Currently doing some independent testing of the truck and its aftertreatment to try to figure out what might be causing the failures. And as soon as we have the results, I will report them here, report them everywhere. So if you have a Gen 5 Freightliner and have any questions, send your questions via text. You can say it with me, 404-999-1361. Okay, question number 8. Do you just clean or do we do the remove and reinstallation as well? So I always like to say we do our work once the filters are off the truck or the EGR cooler, whatever it might be. So while we do not do the 3 R's, and those 3 R's are remove, reinstall, and reset, or R, which is a good pirate sound, we'll either work with your mechanic directly, or if you do not have a mechanic that you trust and work with, we will refer you to a mechanic who has experience with aftertreatment on whatever type of truck you have. So if you want to start the process and get a mechanic recommendation, send us a text, 404-999-1361. Moving right along here. Question number 9. How is the fuel additive working out? Well, the results have been excellent. The scary part to me is that the people using Clean Air Fleet additive literally can go almost twice as long between DPF cleanings as people who do not use the Clean Air Fleet additive. So if everybody used the Clean Air Fleet additive, our business would be half of what it is right now. This is no joke, and the results are measurable and real. For real. While there may be other additives that produce the same results, I know that Clean Air Fleet definitely gets the job done without any added catalytic chemicals that can actually cause a bit of damage in your DPF system over time. So if you want to learn more about Clean Air Fleet, text additive, ADDITIVE, to 404-999-1361. Okay, moving right along. Number 10. What do we got here? Question about a Freightliner. Hey, are you able to fix the DPF on a Freightliner? And so normally the answer to this is a big fat yes. However, not knowing what you mean by fix, I don't know what's actually wrong. I'd like to have a chance to talk to you before we know for sure. Give us a call or text at 404-999-1361. We'll talk about whatever your specific issue might be, and I can then let you know whether we can actually help you or not, or who can help you. It's rare that we can't help, but I don't want you to spend any money with me unless I know I can really fix your problem. All right. There you have it. Your questions, my answers. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Now let's see who wins that hat this week. All right, let's see what we got here. Super cool. It's American Iron. American Iron, if you're watching right now, send me a message. Otherwise, we'll contact you. Let me get your address, and we'll get a hat on the way to you. If anybody out there wants to leave a question for us, please do. You might win the hat next week. So leave your questions or comments below, or text your questions directly to us at 404-999-1361, which is right here. You can text us or call us at 404-999-1361. We'll be happy to help you out. Or look for me, James Went, on DPF Guys on LinkedIn. If you want to get corporate about it, of course, find us on YouTube and everywhere else. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We do a lot of cool stuff there. And thanks for watching, and see you next week.